Hi, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we'll be making this beautiful outfit that was inspired by the designer Tobo. So if it's something you're interested in, please keep on watching. So this is the measurement I'll be working with. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5. My bust measurement is 39 divided by 4, which is 9.75. My underbust measurement is 34 divided by 4, which is 8.5. Now, my half length measurement is 18 inches for my front. You know, the front and back measurement is not always the same. So this 22 inches is the length of my corset, right? So now the 18 inches is for my front half length, while the 16 inches is for my back half length. Then the 22 is my corset length. So the waist measurement is 35 divided by 4, which is 8.75. So I'll be minusing 1 inch for my snatching. So I'll be working with 7.75. So my hip measurement is 41 divided by 4, which is 10.25. So yeah, these are my vertical measurements. My shoulder to nipple, shoulder to underbust, my bust span, back half length, which I had already established, which is 16 inches. So yeah. So I've gone ahead to mark out my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So from that point, I'll just mark out 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So from that 1 inch mark, I will repeat the same 7.5. This will serve as my armhole depth. So yeah, I'm just trying to get a straight line, so I'll just repeat the same 7.5. So yeah, with all the points, I'll just rule with a straight ruler to get a straight line. So yeah, I've gotten my armhole depth. So from this 1 inch point, I'll connect it to my neckline. So my neckline, I'll be using 3 inches. So I'll mark that out. Then I'll connect my 1 inch shoulder slope to that 3 inches mark. So that to get the front armhole curve, so I'll just get the midpoint of my armhole depth. So I'll just measure what I have there and get the midpoint. So I'll just squeeze my tape and mark on the line. So yeah, I've gotten the midpoint. So from that point, I'll come in by half an inch and mark that point. So now with my curve ruler, I would connect the 3 points together. The 3 points will be my bust measurements divided by 4. So I'll just mark that point. Yeah, so now I've gotten my 3 points. I'll just connect it. So yeah, these are the 3 points I'll be connecting with my curve ruler. So this curve I just created is for my front armhole. So I'll be working with my front first, then I'll later work on my back. So now I'll just go ahead and mark out my shoulder to nipple, which is 10.5. My shoulder to underbust, which is 14.5. I'll mark that point. Then my front half length, which is 18 inches. Then the length of my corset, which is 22 inches. So I'll just mark the second point. So I like to mark 2 points so I can get a straight line. So I'll just repeat the same thing, 10.5, 14.5, 18, and 22. So I'll just use my straight ruler and get a straight line across. So this is my nipple point, this is my underbust, this is my waist. I wonder why I did not mark out my waist. I skipped to my hip. So I'll just go ahead and label it label the lines. So this is my under bust. So yeah, I realized that I did not mark my waist measurement, so I'll just go ahead and roll that point. So this line is my waistline, and this is my hip, while the other line is my nipple. So the next thing is to get my bust span measurement, which is 8 divided by 2, which is 4 inches. So I'll just mark that all the way to the hip line. So I'll just use my straight ruler and get a straight line across. So now for my under bust tightening, so this is my under bust line I'm showing you. On my under bust, I'll come in by 1 inch to my right and 1.5 to my left. So I'll just repeat the same thing to my hip line and roll that out. So this will serve as my under bust tightening. So I'll just go ahead with my straight ruler and get a straight line. So yeah, I'm done with the under bust. So from that under bust line, I'll connect it to my nipple point. So you just connect it with your curve ruler. You see, I'm not starting at the exact nipple point. So you just connect it on both sides. So this is it for the lower part. So now for my upper part, you just have to decide how high you want to cover, how your client wants, or how you want to cover up. So in my case, I'll just go up by 2 inches from my nipple. You can go higher, but I think 2 inches should be okay. You can go more than 2, you can make it 2.5, 3 inches as the case may be, and also depending on the size of your boobs. So I've marked that point. So now to get my upper bust tightening, I'll just go ahead and divide my shoulder measurement by 2. I just want to get the midpoint of my shoulder so I can connect my darts across that point. So I'll just measure it out, divide the measurement into 2, mark the point. Then I'll connect it to the nipple point with my straight ruler. So on this line, I'll come in by 1 inch on both sides for my upper bust tightening. So I'll just use my curve ruler and connect the points. So now I know the difference between my front and back half length is 2 inches. The front is 18 while the back is 16 inches. So the difference is 2 inches. So you just go ahead and mark that difference and connect it to your nipple point. So that at the end of the day, your front and back side seam will meet. Because if you don't do this, your front will be longer than your back. And it will be difficult for you to do your finishing. So I'm gonna have to eliminate that by the side. So now I want to impute my round body measurement. So I've marked my bust measurement divided by 4. Now my waist measurement, I'll mark it out, skipping the dot. See, I'll mark it, then I'll skip the dot. Then I'll mark my 7.75. So I'll not be snatching my measurement again because I've already snatched it while I was doing the calculation. So this is the measurement I'll be working with. So just go ahead and connect all your lines together. At this point, if you want to add more dots, you can still divide the sides again if you want multiple dots. But I just want just want that, just a simple pattern. So I've connected all the sides together. So from the hem of, from my hip line, I'll just go up by, I'll just come up by 1 inch and connect it to the sides. So at this point, you can decide to use your straight ruler or your curve ruler and shape it the way you want. But for me, I went in with my straight ruler and connected to the center front. So for the neckline, I'll just go with my curve ruler and try and get a slightly curved neckline. You see the part of the ruler I'm using is not curvy and it's not too straight. So you just try and get a nice shape around your neckline. So I'm trying to shape the sides now. So now I'll just use my free hand and try and get the curve, the shape that I want. You know, sometimes you might not really get the actual shape you want with your ruler, so you just use your free hand and shape it. So my corset at this point is ready. So this is my front yoke. So I'll just connect that point so I can cut it out and use it for my front yoke. So these are the darts I'll be cutting out. So I'll just go ahead and cut out my pattern so that I can close my side dart. So you just cut it carefully. You cut out your side dart and use some masking tape and tape it down, and through your straighten the line. So you have to be careful with the cutting because you'll be using the yoke later to cut out your pattern. So yeah, I'm done cutting the front. I'll just go ahead and label it. This is my center front. This is supposed to be my side front, but I wrote center front. So if you want to add more darts, you can still go ahead and add more dart, but I just need 2 pieces. So at this point, I'll just go ahead and slash my side dart so that I can close it up. So you just use your masking tape and hold that down. So when cutting on your pattern, you just straighten that line. So my front piece is ready. So now to the back, I've gone ahead to mark out my armhole line. So for the back, I'll not be coming in by 1/2 inch. I'll just connect the line. Just like this, I'll just connect it. So now my half length for the back is 16 inches, while my front half length is 18 inches. No, my corset length is 22 inches. So 22 minus 18 is 4 inches, right? So now after marking my back half length, which is 16 inches, I added the 4 inches to complete my corset length. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'll just go ahead and repeat the same mark on the other side to get a straight line. You know, the difference between my front and back half length is 2 inches, which I've already taken it out from my side dart. So after marking out my 16 inches for my back half length, I mark out my 4 inches to complete the length of the corset length. I hope you understand what I just did. Yeah, so that's why I have 16 plus 4 inches again. So that is that. I'm gonna head to mark out my dart line. So on my waistline, I'm marking out half an inch on both sides. So I use my straight ruler and connect all the points. Connect it to my chest line, connect it to my waist, and connect it to my hip to form a dart. So yeah, I've gotten my dart. So if you want more dart, you can go ahead and add more dart, but I just want a simple pattern. So at this point, I'll just go ahead and mark out my bust measurement divided by 4, my waist measurement divided by 4, and my hip measurement divided by 4. You know, when you're marking all the measurements, where you have the dart, you have to skip your dart. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm doing. So you mark your waist measurements, mark your hip measurements, and you connect all the points together. So the same thing you did to the front, you come up by 1 inch, you do the same thing to the back, then use your ruler and connect it. So I'll just straighten my chest line. So from that chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch because I don't want the corset to be too straight. So I came down by 1 inch and roll a line across. So I'll be cutting that out. So I'm marking out 1 inch for my lacing bar. You know, it's a corset, so I'll be lacing it out. So I'm using 1 inch. So I'm gonna head to mark it out and roll it. So this part is for my lace bar. Also, this is where I'll be putting my eyelet. I'm just indicating it. So yeah, I'm just showing that if you want to add more style line, you can go ahead and add, but I'll be leaving my own like that. So this is my back yoke. You know, the yoke is like a slant, a V front and back, right? So this is what I'm trying to get here. I want to cut out my V. So I'll just connect it from my neckline, connect it to the center back. So this part now is the yoke for the back. So you just go ahead and cut all the pieces. So this is my front yoke. I've already cut the back yoke. So now I want to cut out the front yoke, the neckline. So you know the front and back is like V. So I'll just connect from my neckline to the center front. So yeah, I've gone ahead to interface my fabric before cutting. I've placed my pattern, rule out my lines, and added my seam allowances where I need to add. So this is how everything is looking like. So you should go ahead and label all your patterns so you not mix them up. Though my pattern is not plenty, but if you're working with plenty style lines, you have to make sure you label every part very well so you'll not get confused. So yeah, I'm just indicating the upper part and the down part. And also the seam allowances should be even. So I'm just marking out where the eyelets will be. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So now I'll do the same thing to the lining piece. This is my lining piece. I've gone ahead to interface it before cutting. This is what I like to do. and also label it accordingly. So I've gone ahead to cut out all my pieces, front and back, with my lining, and also roll out, indicated all the points, all the joints. So this is my back piece. I've gone ahead to roll my waistline, indicated my upper piece and my down piece, my eyelets, both on my lining and on my main fabric, so that even if I separate it, I won't mix it up. So on my lining, I went ahead to cut out wadding. So I'll be adding wadding to the breast part to enable me do my basking. So I've gone ahead to stitch out my bust seam. So I'm cutting it out. You just have to notch it so you'll be able to press it open. So this is my lining piece where I added my wadding to help me do my basking. So you just go ahead and join all the pieces. This is my back pieces. I've gone ahead to join the lining piece and my main fabric. So this is my main fabric. You have to use this tailor's ham, this pressing ham. So I have a tutorial on how to achieve this tailor ham on my channel. So if you haven't seen it, please do well to go and watch it. It's very, very useful when you're pressing your bust curve. So you just go ahead and press all the seams open. So if you want, you can use your S-tape to tape the seams down. So you just press it very well. You just keep pressing it, and with the help of the tailor's ham, you're able to mold it. You see the way I'm holding my cup? Yeah. So this is what you should do. You press the inner seam and also press the outer seam. You see the shape I'm having now? So you just give it a very good press. Press all the seams open. So now it's time for me to do my caging. I've gone ahead to draw my style line. You can see my lines are not straight, so your bust caging line should not be straight. So there's a technique where you use the plier to curve your boning. If you know how to do it, fine, use your boning to use your plier and pull it out and curve it. But if you can't do it like me, you just have to struggle with it. So this is the Ridgeline boning I'll be working with. This is not the biggest, this is like the medium. So yeah, I want to start sewing my boning. You know the technique in sewing boning, you don't have to sew the middle of the boning. You just have to be very, very careful and sew at the edge. There's a provision where you sew at the end of the bone. That is where you sew on. So you just have to be very, very gentle and sew at the edge, because if you sew towards the middle of the bone, you might end up cutting your thread or breaking your needle. So just sew it very gently. And even when you want to sew across, you just have to sew it very gently so that you will not break your needle or break your thread. Because when you're sewing the bones across, you have to cage it to sew across. You have to sew on top of each other, so you just have to be very careful when you get to that point. So you just sew both sides of the bone, following your style line. You can see I'm not starting at the edge of the neckline. I'm giving like 1 inch or ½ inch, depending on what you want to leave out. So me, I'm leaving like 1 inch to enable me turn the neckline. So this is what I have. I've gone ahead to sew all my style line. So now with the help of this my tailor's ham again, I'll just give it a very good press. If you don't have this thing, I wonder how you're able to sew how you're able to iron this cuff part. So you just put it on there and press it. So I've gone ahead to press it. So I want to cover it with fiber. First of all, I've gone ahead to lay down my hemming gum. You know, this fiber does not have gum. So you have to place your hemming gum first, then place your fiber and press it down. So I've gone ahead to do some trimming of the excess fiber. So at this point, if you want to add more layer, you can go ahead and add more layer, but I'll just be doing one layer because I'll be adding a cup again to this outfit. So I don't need too much. I just want one layer to cover the rough edges of the boning. So you just press it down carefully. So yeah, this is what I have. This is how it is on the outer part, and this is what you should have too. And this is the inner. You see the depth is because of the cup. It's giving it that depth. So even if your client, or even if you're not wearing a bra, you'll be able to wear this dress comfortable. So yeah, I'm still drawing the style line for my boning. This piece is my main fabric, so I need boning again on my main fabric. So I'm just drawing out my style line where I'll be passing my boning. So yeah, I'm just measuring my measurement I'll be working with, so that I'll not run a bone around that area. So you have to mark this out, so you're not going to put a bone where you're supposed to sew. See the way I'm following the curve to mark my bust point, my bust measurements. So you just roll your lines, so you know that at this line you don't have to put any boning. This is where you'll be sewing, or you're doing your final fittings. So all these lines are where I'll be putting my boning to give it structure. So this part is on one side. I'll just flip it over and mark the same measurement on the other side. So I'll just measure the distance between each lines and mark it. Because you don't want your lines to be too different from each other, so you just mark the distance between each boning line and mark it. So I'm just checking if they are both the same. So yeah, I'm cutting out the front yoke. So I'll just cut it out and add interfacing to it. I'll cut both the front and back and add my interfacing. So you can see I'm adding my sewing allowance on the upper part and the lower part. So I've gone ahead to finish putting my boning. So with my arm again, I'll press it very well. So I'll just press it and try to create a nice curve. You see, I don't want to bone my fabric because I'm pressing on the main fabric now. So I just went ahead to cover it up with a cotton fabric so that I can iron it very well without creating any damage on my fabric. So at this point, I think the light has gone. I have to use my charcoal iron. This charcoal iron is very reliable. So yeah, work must go on. So you just have to press it very well and mold it. When you press it the way I'm holding my cup, yes. So this is what will give you that shape you're looking for. See, when you press it, you mold it and hold it down in place. So also when you're pressing, you just have to be very careful and patient with it, so you not go and press the wrong part and get your shape all messed up. So this is how you should press it. So yeah, this is the cup I'll be adding to the front piece. So I'll just add my hemming gum and press it down. So this is my hemming gum. I'll just add my hemming gum inside the cup and iron it. So your cup should sit at your under bust. This is what I'm showing you. Yeah, you're supposed to mark all of that. You're supposed to sit at your under bust. That's why you should mark it very well while you're drafting your pattern, so that you know where to fix your cup and where to shape it. So I'm done with that. So this is my front yoke and my back yoke. I'm gonna head to cut it, and I added interfacing to it, so to give it structure. So this is my front and this is my back. So this is how I'll be attaching it. This is the V. So yeah, I'm showing you how I'll attach it. So I'm gonna head to attach it now with my lining piece. I'll just place it right side to right side and sew it all the way across. See? So I'm gonna head to sew it all. I also have a tutorial on how to get that hem. It's in my channel. So now my cup cannot, my boss hem, the smaller ones cannot work, so I have to use this bigger one to press. You can see the hem is helping me press it very easily. So this is the front. So this is how the inner is. You can see the cup. So I'm done with the front. So this is the back. You just go ahead and repeat the same thing. Attach your yoke, then put your fabric right side to right side and sew it all around. So this is the back. This is how I'll sew. I'm just showing you how to sew. So I've gone ahead to sew the two back pieces, and this is what I have. This is the front. See the way I'm able to shape the bust part because of that my tailor's ham. So with that tool, you're able to shape it to the way you want. So this is the back piece. I've gone ahead to stitch everything down and iron it. So I've placed it to the front, right side facing each other. So I'll just stitch the shoulder and stitch the sides. So this part is the part for my eyelet. So this is my sleeve. I've gone ahead to cut it and turn it with my lining. So now to the best part, to the lower part. So this is my skirt part. I've gone ahead to iron it The first line is the middle point, while the next line is the side dart, which is 4 inches, which is where I want my shape to be. So before I get to that point, this is how my dress is looking like on my mannequin. So this is the corset part. It's time for me to attach it to the skirt part. So you see the way the bust part is looking very nice. So you just need that tool so that to enable you sew it very well, iron it very well. So this is the back. This is how the back looks like. So now I want to attach the skirt to the corset. You know, the style line is tilting to the side. So this is what I want to draw now. So with my ruler, I will just roll it out the way I want it to be. So at this point, if your client is on ground, you can have your client come in, she'll wear it and you style it on her body. But my client is not around, so I have to do it on the ground. So this is the style line for my waist I'll be going for. So I've gone ahead to wear my skirt to the upper part. Yeah, I'm just making sure the side seam are lined. This is the first thing I like to do. I like to pin the 2 side seam. Yeah, I've gone ahead to do so. So you see, the first line is my middle line. From that part, I measure 4 inches to the side, which is my dart line. That is where my style line will be running to. See, I'm just making sure that I have the accurate measurements. So I like to use iron to create all the lines so it will be easy for me to cut across. So I'll just carefully cut across along the line I iron. And also making sure that it's in line with the style line I ruled on my corset top. So you see, I'm checking if it's accurate and everything is going well. So after I've gotten that point, you just flip it open like this and trim it off. So yeah, this is my waistline. So you can just go ahead and hand stitch it. You can use your machine to top stitch. You can do however you want to finish up the waistline, the way you feel comfortable. Then we can go over the beading pattern. See, I've bent my edges inside. I'll just go ahead and top stitch. So yeah, this is how my dress is looking like on my mannequin. See, the waistline is tilting to the side. Yeah. And you see everything is looking very nice. So yeah, I've started my beading pattern. I've gone ahead to, it's just a simple beading pattern. So I'm just beading along the line I sewed on first to conceal the edges, the line I sewed. So yeah, I'll be beading along these edges too. So yeah, I wanted to film the beading process, but I was too far from the camera. I hope you can see. It's nothing technical, you just a bead after one bead at a time. So it's not a really serious beading pattern. You just put one bead at a time, one bead at a time. Then you just work it up. So that's it. So now I realized that I was too far, so I had to come closer. So this is what I was telling you, just one beat at a time. You just pick one bead. So that's it, simple. You just continue beading it. Oh, I poke myself. That's the risk in the business. So you just continue beading it like that until you get the desired style you want. So that is it for the beading. So this is what I was able to achieve. So at this point I used two types of bead. So now I'm introducing the smaller beads. So these are the smaller beads now. It's the same beading process, one bead at a time, one bead at a time. So now at this point I'm making it more scanty because I want to stop. So I want the smaller bead to end the beading pattern. So, and these ones are more spacious. See the way I'm passing my thread under. So if you like, you can mark out, you can use your chalk or fabric pen to mark all the spots you want to put your bead. But I did not do that. I was just using my eye to create the pattern I want. But if you want it to be more accurate, you just use your pen or your chalk and mark out the points where you want the beading, how you want it. So you just continue the process like that, and that is it. So it's the same beading process I use for the waist. So this is how the waist part is. So you can decide to add more or you can make it less, decide how you want it to be. So this is the final look of the dress. This is how it's looking like. This is the full look. See the shape of the bust. See the waistline. Everything is looking so nice. And this is how it looks like on my client. So at this bust, you don't even need to wear bra. See the way everything is just packing very nicely. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up.